Hello, ghouls and goblins.
Hey,
We're here.
welcome to the podcast.
We're here to discuss art.
Here, Leroy, get in the podcast. Come on.
Hey there. This
This
guy
guy's
will be
the
a company
third
guest
member.
also. Okay, let's start off by just talking about how we discovered our first form of art. I think the first art I ever discovered was drawing, and when I was a kid, I am maybe around the age of 5 or even younger than that. I always was fascinated by drawing, and one of my favorite things to draw as a kid, I remember I loved drawing bat characters, but I was pretty shit back in the day, so they looked similar to eggs. They were like egg bat characters.
I remember I got started in my drawing endeavors just by painting and drawing whatever was in my mind. And I remember that would often be some sort of nature scene with strange characters. But it's a child's drawing. It doesn't really look like nature or characters. It's just color mash. You know, that was my style as a child.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
but what are some of the biggest changes that you've experienced through your time with art? Like, what is some of the changes where as you got older you adapted new philosophy and it really transformed how you thought of the whole process?
I remember one of my first realizations with art was that you could use reference.
Fascinating.
Back in elementary school at some point,
Elementary school.
I remember I was a Call of Duty player, right? And I would play zombies. And I always thought the ray gun looked really cool, so one day I sat at the table, was drawing with a few of my brothers and my friend, and then I was like, you know what, I'll draw a ray gun, but I'm gonna search up a picture of how to draw a ray gun. And it sparked something interesting, drawing from some sort of reference image, right? So, drawing from reference, I think, is a beautiful form of art where you're taking this thing that's already been created or exists in nature or whatever it is, right? And then you're trying to replicate it in maybe your own style. You're trying to get an exact replication of the reference. Me and Mr. Richard here, we don't really draw from reference. You know, we draw a different type of drawing called freelance imagination drawing, which is one of my favorite ways to draw nowadays. How's that breezy hitting?
Wonderful. And I actually really love that style of drawing. The style I implement a lot of the time,
Like the leaf here.
and I've learned that with drawing, if you really want to produce the best products, and just stay there for the long haul, you gotta have drawing in pieces where you just have no plan at all, and you merely just kind of let your randomized hand movements just create imagery. I think it's great to do pieces like that to juxtapose pieces where you really have an idea that you're trying to create, and it's a real nice combative force. You know, those two forces of no plan and plan create different art. It's very nice.
Yeah, so how about we discuss an obscure form of art?
Of course.
You know, let's talk about Cubism, for example.
Fun times.
Pablo Picasso, you know, popularized it, even possibly created it. But the idea of drawing where you're having shapes, straight lines, and different reference angles is kind of the main point of the drawing. It's very abstract. It reminds me of psychedelics in a way.
Yeah, we see it in his life when you look at the art that he created in his early ages and even like mid ages. A lot of it was realism, and he was really fascinated with realism. But as he got older, he learned something that I think a lot of artists learn, is that it doesn't need to be accurate to the real world. It's like more pure if it just is a creation straight from your mind.
Yeah, something Picasso said closer to his death was that he had finally learned to draw like a child again. As he got old, as his skills deteriorated, his brain deteriorated, as he has all sorts of mental conditions that eventually brought him to his downfall. I watched this video of him drawing, and at the end it looked like a children's drawing, but there was some sort of, I don't know, special aura to it that almost made it, you know, made it very interesting to look at.
You gotta think, why does he even want that? Why does he want a children's drawing? Well, the reason I speculate why is because that mindset of a child is not tainted by anyone else's opinion. Maybe by their parents a little bit, but a lot of your movements are just directly brought out through a pure form of creativity and not tainted by, oh, who's this gonna impress, or I have to do this type of realism so people think that I'm good, or that clouds the actual creation itself.
Yeah, I think it goes along with that whole mindset. You gotta not care what people think of you to live a really free and enjoyable life, I feel like. You have to do what makes you happy, not what makes anyone else happy.
Yeah.
Sure, maybe you're living with your wife and you want to make her happy, but in the end, that's gonna make you happy. That's why you do it. If you treat her like shit, you're also gonna feel like shit, and that's the reason I feel like so many things are based around yourself. It's because everything can be related back to the primal need to survive, and survive in the most fun way, maybe. That's my philosophy.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's a fascinating
Don't
philosophy.
be barking, I'm sure.
I like that philosophy. Yeah, orientating the self and your enjoyment. Like, that's a thing you should definitely focus on. And in my life, the profession I'm deciding to go down is definitely one that I enjoy, and it's something I've been doing since I was a kid. I love to draw. In my phase of going through tattooing and teaching myself how to tattoo people, and working on my craft and drawing things for people, I kind of thought the magic would fade, but I was able to keep it through many methods. What I did at the start of my decision to really get into tattooing, I decided that I needed to do research on how to not let my dreams fade over treating it like work. And the people who I studied were some of the comic book animators from the 90s and 80s, and I studied and I looked at their life story.
What particular comic books?
He drew for all the Marvel characters. He was one of the animators.
Stanley?
No. He was kind of the production or manager kind of. He didn't actually really create a lot of characters, but
No,
I forget
right.
the lad's name. I got to be honest, but he's very famous, very renowned around. He's just a Marvel illustrator.
This blonde's hitting like a motherfucking deuce on a Sunday. This is what I'm talking about. Weed sometimes you gotta go into a psychedelic venture.
Dude, but anyways, some of the things I learned from these people is that, just to draw back from what I said earlier, you have to have a full-on range, and you can't only do one style, because if you try many different styles, then you'll soon learn.
Here, you hit it if you want.
Just go out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I want to say one thing about art.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Is that I think every single person who
Oh.
doesn't do art should do art.
Yeah.
And whether that be in a form of drawing, painting, making music,
Dancing.
it could be anything. Art is a large scope. You could damn formulate forts in your house with blankets and shit. That's a form of art. You can motherfucking
It's just
climb a mountain.
Yeah.
And that path, it's
Yeah.
your unique path. You're creating this interesting dance between you and the physical world in some aspect, creating shit, And that's the most important thing. Get in there and enjoy it, man. Enjoy it.
Yeah, enjoy it.
Enjoy the art. Because
Yeah, I
it
totally
enjoys
agree.
you, man.
I totally agree. When you, and I think one of the main reasons why you gotta do it is that what? Before I answer this question, let's just listen to this beautiful audio. This a wonderful licking noise is Lucas's dog, and Lucas's dog is named Leroy, and he's a wonderful black lab, and he looks kind of like some big like sick overweight black guy, and his name's Lamar or something. He's a cool, suave looking black dude, and that's kind of what his dog looks like. He's a nice guy to have around.
But sometimes I see my dog as more of a guy named Michael, He's like a work rat. He works as a security guard in the house, and sometimes he don't watch. He's like, man, I'm Michael, doing my job. And then there are other times, he's this sick Lamar guy where he's like, I don't know, having a dog or any kind of animal that's very responsive to your movements and kind of knows you, plays with you, it's a lot of fun because, it's like you have this bond, and it's not like any other human bond, dude. It's so different. You know what I'm saying with animals, dude?
Oh yeah, it's a wonderful bond. You have to think it's a bond with honestly maybe even like less confusion in a way. I feel like the dog, like the bond between like a dog and a person or some sort of animal and a person, like sure communication will allow you to understand someone better, but a lot of the time it allows for like miscommunication to happen versus if there's just no communication at all except body language, you know, the intent might be more easy to discern. Like sometimes when you're talking to another human, let's say, and you guys are talking, and then you might get like a weird like idea, like, oh, does this person, like, what does this person actually think about this? They could just be lying. But then with like a dog, you know that it could be into their intelligence that they don't have the capability to lie, or it just could be that since they don't know how, they don't try. But at the end of the day,
I don't think it's about dogs lying. You know what I think it's about? I think it's about the predictability. As a human, you have a certain level of interaction with these things, and your brain can kind of compute, like, you know, if I do this to my dog, you kind of know how he's gonna act. And you know, I feel like there's still a chance he kind of trips up your, you know, prediction. But you know, that's the way I see it. I don't think
I get
I
what
don't know
you're
if
saying.
they
Yeah,
have
it's
the capability
predictability.
to lie, but they can
Deceive.
actually.
I think they probably do. You know,
They do. You gotta think. My dog sometimes he's lying. He'll go, you know, find some raw meat in the bush, maybe some rotten shit, and he'll go in there. And then when he comes back, you know, he tries to act all normal, like he didn't do anything. Like, you know, even if someone saw it. I know this is not a scientific study, but I'm just saying.
I get what you're saying because you guys get mad at him for eating random things, right?
I wouldn't
'Cause
say
you don't
it's
want
like a
to-
form of lying, like a verbal lying. It's just
It's in your body language. You try to, like, you know, body language, that's what this all came down to, is body language is, like, easily readable in a way.
Shit.
Like, it says a lot out of that. But anyways, let's hop back onto art. We were talking about his dog. Lovely, Roy. But I have an art question for you. What is
Okay.
one thing that you really strive to create in your life? Like, one art piece that you have envisioned that you know you will attempt to create perfectly? Whatever that is. She's crazy.
It's probably some point in my later stages of life. Assuming I live till old age, what I would do is I would get a massive canvas, probably like a 6 foot or 8 foot tall canvas, and I would paint an all-encompassing scene of every feeling, emotion, thing that really stuck out to me in my life. I'll just draw my fucking life cycle on a painting, and however I do that is up to me.
Fascinating.
I'll just try to get every emotion, every kind of incident all in one go.
Wow, fascinating.
On a
So,
huge canvas,
yeah.
I'll take like a few years on it.
wow, years. Crazy. I love that.
My most important events in my life, most likely.
Yeah.
Some weird shit
Some
like
sort
that.
of,
Some-
like,
and it's gonna be
beautiful-
like really trippy, like
Yeah.
landscapes and like, yeah.
Yeah, of things happening to you in your
'Cause
life.
I just
Yeah.
know if I keep painting, if I were to keep painting in 20 years, I'd be fucked. I'd be cracked. You
Yeah,
would too.
True that. I guess.
Dude, we should keep doing art.
Oh,
for the
most
rest of our life.
definitely.
I think
I don't have
that is
any
my,
intent to
what I
stop.
want to do with my life.
Yeah, I think art is something you should always do throughout your life. Not only do you have perfect time
like
capsules of moments, perfect time capsules of moments in a
Come
way.
hang out.
I mean, it's not perfect, but you get these really nice captures of a moment in time. That's what art is in a way. You're capturing a feeling in a moment of time.
Oh yeah.
It's so fascinating, man. And then you can look back on it. Like, I have songs that I've made where I look back and I was like, wow, I was in a completely different headspace back then. You know, I was in a completely different headspace back then. And it makes the art sound different. You know? Like, what's some of the pieces in your later times in life that you've looked back on and been impressed with? Or how you felt about them? Oh.
Impressed with? Impressed with what?
Well, let's say, like, it almost felt like it's before its time, in a way.
Of art?
Yeah, in your life, where you look back on and you're like, wow, that one that was like, I hit
And
something.
one I created?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. I feel that with this super sick motherfucking like cubism piece I made, where it was this guy and he was his side profile, and then there was another guy, like halfway through his face looking like this, and they both had one eye, and then I made this orbital cubism landscape. I don't know. It's hard to explain in words, right? But I did
I
this
think I know the piece you're
about
talking
6
about.
months ago. Yeah.
6 months ago you did it. Fascinating.
Or maybe 7. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like my brain was able to tap into just some very interesting ideas, you know?
Fascinating, brother.
What about you? What about you, man? What have you made that has shattered your boundaries? That is my question.
You know, I think one of my first drawings that I ever did that I really, really liked.
I already know what you're talking about, dude.
I think I know which one I'm talking about. Is back in my day, you know, I had this huge wall that my parents allowed me to do art on directly. And I loved drawing dragons. And at the time I drew a bunch of dragons, and then I got a little bit of reference for it, and then I decided to create this dragon. And I used some pieces of reference and some pieces of my own ability, and it was wonderful. And I did this when I was in like middle school, so that's a multitude of years ago. And I actually liked the output of it, and it was something that was completely new to me, to draw some huge dragon on a portrait and paint it on this wall. And I did it with my grandmother. It was actually a very wonderful piece to do.
I saw that piece, and it was a huge piece, you know?
Yeah.
The dragon was like 6 feet.
Yeah,
It was massive.
yeah, it was large.
And you didn't use any reference, did you?
No, I used a little bit.
Oh, a little bit.
I did indeed. I would.
Okay, who gives a shit? That one was still sick.
Yeah, thank you. I did indeed use a little bit of reference. What my reference was is I didn't directly draw anything, but I looked.
Been eating some stinky shit.
But I looked at a lot of just pictures of dragons just to kind of see what I like.
Oh, you're a show.
Peace out, brother. So I mean, hey, we can conclude the podcast now. That was a wonderful little conversation about things.
Are you talking about concluding again?
Okay.
You want to conclude the podcast? Where we did the bitch?
Hey everybody. Thanks for watching the podcast.
Yeah, man, thanks you all.
We
My
love-
name's Goblin.
We love you all. If you made it to this far, you know, I hope you live your life and do something good with your day today.
Yes.
Love you.
We hope the best.